Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Thanks for joining us this Thursday afternoon for Tampa Home Talk. If you listened to us before and you're rejoining us, we're so glad to have you back. We'll be having another brand new show also with Aaron Davis this Saturday at 5. So you can catch us here every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. on the Tan Talk Radio Network. We'll be on 1340, 1350, and 1400. Proud to bring you my show via Real Estate Radio Network. And so Aaron Davis here is going to talk all about how they got their start and why they do what they do this Saturday. And we're going to have fun with this hour. We're also going to be taking your calls live in. So if you have some questions, real estate, mortgage related questions, title related questions, you want to know what happens if you bought a foreclosure property and how that can affect your title, we would love to take your calls this afternoon. You can reach us at the studio call-in line, 727-441-3000. Again, this is your host, Katrina Madewell with Tampa Home Talk, and you can call us here today in studio at 727-441-3000. So, welcome, Aaron Davis, Hillsborough Title CEO.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We've been having a lot of fun in studio today because we usually pre-record for our Saturday show.
Yep.
And so you guys have some big news to announce. So I'm like kind of the first one to hear.
You will be. We won't announce who, but we've got a pretty large purchase of a competitor title agency tomorrow. So we'll be adding two more offices to the fold to further our expansion around Tampa Bay.
You guys are just on fire over there. You're blowing up. You've got 2 South Tampa offices.
Yeah, we were just looking at the list. So we've got 2 offices in South Tampa. We've got now New Tampa, St. Pete, Carrollwood, Plant City, Brandon, Sun City Center, Treasure Island, Apollo Beach, Indian Rocks, Wesley Chapel. 2 more that we're acquiring, and then another that we're acquiring in about 2 weeks.
Now, are we saying the area yet or not yet?
We'll say Polk County, and we'll say Manatee.
So you're going a little further east and a little further south.
Yeah, we've pushed it all the way to the water now. So we want to head south, head east, and then we'll probably trek north a little bit and march across the state.
And you guys are doing a fantastic job. Really, the service that you guys offer over there is second to none. And with the crazy stuff we've seen in this day and age, over the last several years, like it never surprises me. It seems like there's always something new.
No, it's always. I mean, it's almost. I think we've been in this for quite some time, so it's almost laughable at this point. You just you're like, oh, what am I going to see next?
The crazy part is, and especially if you're an agent listening to the show, I really would recommend that you bring yourself up to speed. And you guys are doing a lot of training at the Board of Realtors and other places.
We are. Matter of fact, we have a class going on next week at the Brandon Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be teaching a 1-hour class on the CFPB, the new changes that are going on.
Break down CFPB and tell the person listening what that is and what it means and who they are.
They're the new police. So it is the
mortgage title police, right?
Yeah, the new law. They are the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They were put into power by the Dodd-Frank reform bill. That was a good piece of legislation that reformed banking and lending and Wall Street so that we wouldn't have another subprime meltdown, mortgage, chaos.
The crazy part is, Aaron, I think the whole thing was really just it's the extremes they're taking now, I think, are a little blown out of proportion because, back then when they were writing some of those crazy mortgages and I was having these conversations with my underwriters going, I can't believe they're actually writing this loan. And they're going, I can't believe I'm actually signing off on this loan, which was really Wall Street's greed kind of trickling into the mainstream, which, we as seasoned professionals that had been in this industry for a long time knew that these loans were going to come back. We didn't know how far, how much, how wide, but we knew that we were going to get a lot of that stuff back.
Yeah, when you buy a house and you get money back at the table, there is a problem.
Yes.
When you have nothing to lose by not making your payment besides getting your credit crushed, then there's an issue. And that's what we saw back in the day, 100% finance, 100 and change percent financing, because they were getting their deposits back at the closing table.
Yes, it's nuts. We're going to talk about some of the new CFPB changes here in just a minute, but I know it's been interesting, some of my conversations lately with some of our different buyers and our sellers, especially our buyers, because we did a home buyer workshop at our office the last 2 Saturdays. And it was interesting to hear what the buyers have to say. And, the buyers really don't like house hunting. They think they're going to when they start. Mm-hmm. But in this market, they realize that they're looking at properties when they finally found one that they think is good and it's nice and they're going to get a good deal on something that they can move in and live in. They get outbid by a cash investor or somebody else.
And it's the consumer typically is always, 6 months to a year behind the times. So we're trying to tell them, and I'm sure you do too, if you want this house, we need to go full price plus right. some. And they still think, oh, you know what? If they're asking $100,000, they'll take 95. No, they're going to take 102.
The deal you're getting in this market is that you got the house, right? You got a contract.
And that's what we saw the last 2 years is the big hedge funds roll in town, and we've never seen anything like that before, where Wall Street got into the real estate game. And so when they roll in and they're looking for rental home inventory, it was in some facets it was sad because a good young starter family who really wanted to buy that 3-bedroom 2-bath house in the subdivision would get outbid because Wall Street rolls in with cash.
They can't compete with Blackstone.
And if I'm a seller, I'm taking cash.
It's hard, yes. Especially when all the things that can go wrong. There's so many contingencies in a regular contract, especially if it has financing. I mean, they got 30 days to give you a commitment to lend, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So,
and that's where all this Wall Street reform is that's what we say is the pendulum swings both ways. So it was way too loose, and then now it's way too tight. Yes. And it's got to level out. So hopefully after we get through all this reform, I think it's going to be a tough 2015 facing all of this change. And then maybe we'll get back normal in 2016.
Hopefully. If you're one of these sellers right now that are listening and you've been thinking for a while, you've been on the fence and you're thinking you might want to sell your home and buy another one, whether you're moving up, you're moving down, moving out of the area, which I can't imagine what the crazy weather the rest of the country has had. Yeah. But if that's something that you're doing, that you might be surprised where the house prices are right now. So you could actually just text the word value to 813-777-1196. Again, if you want to get an idea what your home's value is like, 813-777-1196. Absolutely no obligation. We'll just give you the information that you need. And on your website, which we'll post on our Facebook, Twitter, and everything page, which is at Tampa Home Talk, TampaHometalk.com, we'll post a link for your seller's calculation sheet, which is where you can go in and literally post what your expenses are if you sell the normal commission, 6%.
Yeah, you can put your commission in there, your sales price, it'll automatically calculate your doc stamps, your title insurance, and your fees, and then you can plug in your payoffs and whatnot too, so you can get a true a look at your net.
Have an idea what you'll walk away with.
Exactly.
We would love to talk to you. There's a lot of stuff moving in the market real quickly. There's over 10,000 units for sale right now, and we're going to get into some of these changes and a lot of great stuff when we come back. Stick around. Be back in just a minute.
If you are a real estate agent and want to keep more of your hard-earned commission, call me today at 727-538-9200 extension 2. This call will change your real estate career.
Curious where your credit score is? Text the word credit to 813-377-2775. Not sure where it needs to be in order to buy? We'll tell you. Simply text the word credit to 813-377-2775 for access to your credit score now.
Hi, I'm Ike Antonio Thomas, Director of Salitas House, where we offer homeownership workshops, pre-purchase counseling, foreclosure intervention counseling for homeowners at risk of losing their home, financial coaching for adults and teens. Come sign up for our program where if you save $1,000, we'll give you $1,000. Call us 813-425-4847. Again, 813-425-4847. 4847. You can like us on Facebook or you can find us on the web, solidushouse.com.
Curious what your Tampa home is worth? Here's an easy way to find out what homes like yours are selling for in today's market. Text the word value to 813-377-2775 for a free report on Tampa house prices. We'll send you a free report with up-to-the-minute statistics based on all homes for sale sold in your neighborhood over the last 6 months in all price ranges. To get your free report on Tampa Bay house prices, just call or text the word value to 813-377-2775.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888 or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. This is your host, Katrina Madewell. Thanks so much for rejoining us. If you missed any part of today's show, you can check us out on the web and online at tampahometalk.com. We post all of our past shows, and they're available via a podcast there, and you can watch us streaming right now on the web under Tan Talk 1340. Thank you so much for rejoining us if you listened to the first segment, and if you missed it, we were talking about some of the changes coming to the real estate arena. So if you're going to buy or sell, it will affect you, whether it's, in the next 12, 15 months. We're seeing slowly changes come in. I think they won't be as drastic till they actually hit in June.
Yeah. There's a lot of change that's already occurred in the first 30 to 60 days of this year, and I think a lot more will happen by the end of the year. So let's
talk about that for a few minutes. And what you're referring to is the new QM stuff, the qualified mortgage process,
qualified mortgage rule that was put in place, and it basically it's part of a series of changes that are to occur over the next year and a half. And so this particular one put in a lot of rules about ratios that people can lend, what makes up a...
So let me touch on that because we've actually experienced some of that firsthand over the last couple months since they implemented, what was it, January 15th, I think, or something like that? Yeah. Okay, so what happened was, when you go to buy a home or get a mortgage, they run you through this process called automated underwriting. And it's a computer underwriter that literally, they put in all your data, put in how much you have in reserves, like liquid cash, how much your payment is, how much you make, and all these other variables. And the computer will actually spit out what they call their findings, okay? And their findings will either say, accept, meaning the computer likes everything you put in, and the underwriter has to verify that information, or it will come back as a refer, which means we didn't quite like the debt ratio, which means your debt load. You're carrying too much debt for what your income is that you're bringing in or showing. And they use gross income too, by the way. So I think it's pretty lenient if you ask me. But what would happen is we would see a lot of these automated findings, like if it liked the credit, if you had really good credit, high 700s, mid 700s, or you've been on your job for a long time, all those things play a part, even your cash reserves. You might have a good amount in the bank. And we would see that you could push those limits with regards to your debt to income ratios. So if you had compensating factors and the computer liked it, it would give you an accept. And so what we noticed was, and we had a couple that happened basically during the process, I think after the 10th, they were required to rerun it through automated underwriting. And they may have had an accept before when that approval letter was issued, but they're actually getting a refer when they run it the second time around. Right. So sometimes they're having to change programs, which that can be a mess. And delay closing. Those are all the little things that, we manage all these details for you. Myself and my team do a lot of things, just like Aaron, you and your team. Yep. You do so much stuff behind the scenes before the consumer ever gets there to sign their documents with you for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's this is another change that we didn't even, we meaning the title industry, did not even realize occurred. Owner financing. So a seller-held mortgage. If you think about it, that is the seller acting as a bank.
Right.
And so in the past, you were able to do that, no problem. We can prepare your note and mortgage and the payment letter and all of that stuff. Well, now this new law says you can only do that 3 times a year.
Really? really?
So it almost put under an entire industry what we call hard money lenders. These are guys that are, I just call them rich old guys.
Well, private monies too. I mean, we deal with some investors that have cash, and they pulled a lot of that money out of the stock market or other places that just were not performing. And they hold private notes on what we call make sense loans, right? Like stuff that the lenders would do a while back, but now they're too tight on their guidelines. And so we'll see basically they don't write that stuff. Well, you can get a private loan. So you're saying that the new rules as of January 10th, are affecting them?
As of now, because the law changes it was 1,800 pages of legislation. So everyone has to dig in to find the small print. And sure enough, we've just sat through a seminar, and it's like, you cannot do more than 3 owner finance or seller held mortgages in a year.
Now, is that a title requirement for you guys that you can't prepare the paperwork, or they can't as a lender?
That's where it changed. It's a lender thing. So these guys that have big IRAs, they may loan money out of their 401k, and that they used to, loan, maybe 20 people a year or more. They're now saying that you're limited to 3. If you do more than 3, you're required to carry a lender's license. And if you carry a lender's license, you have to go through all this disclosure.
So now they fall, I guess if you're lending your own private money, you're falling under the CFPB.
You're going to fall under it if you do more than 3 a year.
So Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That's crazy that you can even do what you want with your own money now.
No, and again, they go back to is the consumer being harmed? Well, maybe they're being taken advantage of. We don't know. It was a little bit of an unregulated area.
Well, what we see though, and here's where I think it's going to hurt the consumer. And this is from my perspective, and I come from a mortgage background. So I can't tell you the times that I've seen deals that were like, this is a total make sense deal, but the lender is not going to write it for one reason or another because it doesn't fit in this box.
Yeah, and self-employed is oftentimes the culprit.
I mean, most self-employed people are going to write off as much as they can.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that their gross receipts are not there, and that's the crazy part is, if you're a W-2 employee, the lender is going to use those gross receipts for qualifying you. But if you're self-employed, you're going to get that bottom number.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to start. So it's kind of harming some people like that.
Yeah.
And some of these people are putting 40, 50% down. So, I mean, they're a good risk.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, let's say they're self-employed and they were really, really good at their job. Maybe they made their prior owner or company a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And now they decided they want to go out and do it on their own. But they've only been doing it for a year. And they're like, we want to take advantage of the low prices in the area. It's going to affect these guys.
It is, because they were, that was a very attractive in an appreciating market like this. It's very attractive right now to hold a mortgage and charge 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. To hold a mortgage versus putting your money in the bank and earning what, a point, in a CD, a point and a quarter.
And personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because let's use that example that I gave a moment ago. You have the self-employed guy that's only had his company for a year, so he doesn't fit in that Fannie Mae Freddie Mac box. He doesn't fit in the FHA box. None of these other entities want him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that he could have $500,000 in the bank and not want to use his cash, because maybe that's his liquid reserves to carry him if he has a bad several months or whatever. It's sad because people like that could have gotten into the prices now, and then once they have the 2 years under their belt, just refinance into a traditional loan program.
Well, and I'll use a great example. I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, frame home in Plant City. I bought it for $32,000. I put $4,000 down, and it was an owner financed. I'm a 19-year-old kid, so they charged me.
You don't have a lot of credit.
They charged me 10% interest, and they held $28,000. My payments were $300 a month. That loan almost does not exist today because of this new regulation.
Which is crazy. So let's go back to when you were 19 and you bought your first home.
Yeah.
If that's you, you didn't have any credit at the time, right?
I had no
score?
credit, and that was I was able to hold on to that house for 2 years and flip it and make enough money to start putting myself through college. And so that was my start in life. And so now, it's very discouraging that someone starting today probably does not get that opportunity.
And it's sad. It really so I wonder, where every new legislation comes, there's always people that are finding a workaround.
Yeah.
It's just the way our system and our infrastructure works.
There's always it is. It's all, and that's what we look at this. We're like, this is a big, huge piece of legislation, but we're not going to be that concerned with it because things always have a way of working out.
So we want to know what your questions are. If you're looking to buy or sell, or maybe you're in the process now, or you're thinking about it, don't hesitate to give us a call here. We're in studio today to take your questions and answer them, and we would love to hear from you. There's no question too silly. So reach out to us at 727-441-3000. We would love to answer your questions and help you out and have a little fun with us this afternoon on radio.
Yep.
Again, 727-441-3000. And if you're driving, just hand your phone to the passenger next to you so they can dial for you. So, Aaron, that's what are some of the things that your company's doing to position yourself to get prepared for all these crazy changes? And I mean, you've got a staff of over 100.
We do. We started this literally about 2 years ago, is when we started catching wind of all the changes coming. And so part of the change that will occur in the industry is along the lines of data protection. We hold people's identities and social security numbers in our possession. So therefore,
what's changing with that?
There's going to be higher levels of data security and data protection that the title companies have to have in order to even perform a closing for a bank.
Which that's awesome.
It is, and that's needed.
Let me tell you an example, which is why I really like that personally. I come from the mortgage world, right? So I started out when I was 18 years old writing loans, did it forever until I got my real estate license about 10 years ago. And then at some point when all the new regulation changed, you know what? I'm like, you can have your license. I don't want to do this anymore. So we outsource it to our partner, Silverton Mortgage, and they do an excellent job doing that. But one of the things, for example, my husband and I bought our first home. We lived in Valrico in Brentwood Hills. And we did our own mortgage, okay? So they didn't have hardly anything. And this was a builder at the time. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. But when they moved out of their model center, they actually took all the files that were in the office and dumped them in an empty lot. And there were neighbors literally walking around door to door saying, oh my gosh, your file is there. It's sitting in an empty lot. Go get your stuff. So people were going to this empty lot digging for their stuff. And so for me, I didn't have a lot of information in there, but what I did have in there was an escrow check that I gave them, a good faith check, which had my bank account number on it and the routing number and everything else somebody needed, as well as a copy of my identity. I mean, in this day and age, that's enough to assume someone's identity.
Yeah.
So when we come back in a minute, we're going to continue this conversation and get into some of those changes and let Aaron finish off on his thought. This is Katrina Madewell. I'm your host of Tampa Home Talk. We'd love to hear from you. Again, our studio call-in number, 727-441-3000. Again, 727-441-3000. We'll be back in just a minute. About an inside secret to save several hundreds of dollars on your annual homeowner's insurance premium. Text the word WIND, W-I-N-D, to 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775.
I'm John Rakowski, the broker with Charles Ruttenberg Realty. If you are a real estate agent and want to keep more of your hard-earned commission, call me today at 727-538-9200 extension 2. This call will change your real estate career.
My name's Carol Austin, representing the Realtors Care Foundation, GTAR. I'm the CEO there, and the foundation is existing to help with down payment assistance, and we gift up to $5,000 for the first-time home buyers to purchase a home in Hillsborough County. So please visit us at the Realtors Care of GTAR.org or call us at 813-879-7010. 813-879-7010.
I'm Ike Antonio Thomas, Director of Salitas House, where we offer homeownership workshops, pre-purchase counseling, foreclosure intervention counseling for homeowners at risk of losing their home, financial coaching for adults and teens. Come sign up for our program where if you save $1,000, we'll give you $1,000. Call us 813-425-4847. Again, 813-425-4847. You can like us on Facebook or you can find us on the web, salitashouse.com.
Curious what your Tampa home is worth? Here's an easy way to find out what homes like yours are selling for in today's market. Text the word value to 813-377 2775 for a free report on Tampa house prices. We'll send you a free report with up-to-the-minute statistics based on all homes for sale sold in your neighborhood over the last 6 months in all price ranges. To get your free report on Tampa Bay house prices, just call or text the word value to 813-377-2775.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888 or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. This is your host, Katrina Madewell with Charles Ruttenberg Realty through the Real Estate Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can find us on 3 stations here in the Tampa Bay area, 1340, 1350, and 1400. Really excited to announce my special guest here in studio with me, Aaron Davis. He's the CEO and president of Hillsborough Title.
Just janitor.
You guys
janitor's fine.
Been around the block for a couple years, right? 2 or 3?
Yeah, 2, 3, 30, whatever.
It all kind of blends together, right?
It does.
Before you know it, it's 3 and it turns into 30.
Hey, time flies when you're having fun.
So you guys have, we counted, 15 offices in the area to serve you? And
15 local offices. Looking
for some new acquisitions to hit the ink tomorrow at 9:30?
We've got a big one going down tomorrow. So the press release will be hitting the airwaves at noon. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Adds two more offices.
Well, we're excited to have you here in studio with me, and also delighted to have you as one of our show partners. And if you're in the Tampa Bay area and you can hear a signal, then Hillsborough Title has an office near you.
That's right.
And they would love to have the opportunity to give you a quote and let you know what you'll net and give you an idea of what your costs are going to be and how much you're going to walk away with.
Yeah, you can go to any of our websites. I tend to collect domains, so I have some rather funny websites. Titleisboring.com is one of them. It takes you back to my website. But you can go to htitle.com, and there is a link on the left-hand side. It says Seller's Net Sheet, and you can plug that in and plug in what you're anticipating to sell your house for and the cost and payoffs and everything, and it'll tell you what you're going to make.
It's such a handy dandy tool. I got to tell you, I've been using it ever since we've worked together, and it's great because for me now I don't have to wait for someone to prepare a preliminary settlement statement.
Yeah.
We can just kind of put those numbers in there, and it's pretty close, right?
It's really gets you within a couple $100 of closing,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, to have that calculator just calculate it, and it's not rocket science, but it's nice to have it right there.
Yeah, and it's a convenience for our clients, our agents, the general public, and quite frankly, it makes my job easier too, so I don't have to keep working all those preliminary statements.
Yeah, and I mean, I can imagine how much time and hours your team, and that's an important part, sellers need to know that stuff, but I can imagine how much time that would actually take out of their day.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times, sellers are looking, like, I need to sell this home and make $10,000, or I need to sell to break even. What's my magic number? And they can back into the number that way.
You can work the numbers backwards, we call it,
exactly.
which you have to do. There's so many things you have to pay as a seller.
We all do it.
So we're talking about some of those changes to QM and how the debt ratios are going to play a part. And so some of the things you're seeing, you said, was with regards to better measures to prevent fraud and identity theft.
We call it NPI. It's non-personal NPPI, non-personal public information, and it's protection of Social Security numbers and driver's license and things that should be protected. What's been happening is you see, like, Target got hacked and lost 50,000 credit cards, and people's identities get stolen.
I was fortunate nothing happened, but I did get a new card in the mail, and I never shop at Target. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff is happening all over the place, and they want to get to a point. The government, the regulators. It's a big inconvenience if you get your identity stolen. It could cost you thousands of dollars, and by the time you add up all the hours and headache, and if you've got no one to, it's kind of like a so what? All right, so what? Your ID got stolen. Well, if you can track down and find out that it was from a bank, a lending institution, a title company, you want to be able to get those people. Well, that's what the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, has now put in place. This is a place that you can go to complain, and they can do something about it. They can regulate it and enforce it and fine the people that did that. So we saw a couple years ago, Capital One, American Express, and Discover Card, they all were using call centers, and these call centers were they were doing the wrong thing. Like, I think one of them was selling a bad insurance product, like credit protection insurance, where you pay $1.99 a month and it'll protect you or whatever. Well, they were selling these bad products
that really didn't pay,
and they
or
really
do what they're
didn't
supposed
pay.
to do.
They were just keeping all the money, and the CFPB fined the credit card companies. And the credit card company said, well, wait, that's not our call centers. We did not do that. We subbed that out to ABC Call Center. And they said, we don't care. That's your vendor. You hired them. It's on you. So they hit Discover Card with $200 million, American Express with $160 million, and Amex for like $120 million. It was
holding these companies accountable.
They did. It was summer of 2012, and these banks just went, oh my God! I did not plan to spend $200 million this month on fines.
I'm sure. My friend Lori Zook hosts a show here at 11 p.m. tonight, and she had her identity stolen. She talked about that last week, and it's not a fun process. Thank God I've never been through it, but I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you get a scare every once in a while, and you have to get a new card. But I mean, I know people that have gotten their identity stolen, and it's a nightmare. It takes years to recover from that.
It does.
And that's what all of these hackers are after. I mean, they're looking for a way to make a cheap
easy
buck.
Information.
Absolutely.
It's hard to believe that those hackers actually got into the target system. And it was just crazy that they could actually get to that. Like, technology is that advanced. We started this 2 years ago, so we actually have a full-time IT person on staff. We're hiring a second one, so if anyone has a resume they want to send in, we're hiring a second IT person. We've had to, we have to go through all of these audits now. They used to call it the SOC 70 audit. Now it's the SSAE 16. You have to make password protect everything that comes in. It's like a bank. When you log into your bank, you got to put in all these passwords. Well, basically any piece of information that flows through the network or system, if it has a social or if it has a piece of identification, it has to be password protected. I personally think in this day and age, there shouldn't be any reason why when your social gets posted somewhere, you couldn't get a text saying who pulled your bureau, who accessed whatever information, and how to reach them.
Well, there's a lot of services that you can pay for that are $10 a month for credit monitoring and that sort of thing. And I subscribe to those, and it is nice. I get an email that says if your credit has been accessed. So I think
I was talking to a lady that had her identity stolen so badly, like it took her so long to unwind that she actually put a lock on her credit to where it takes her a while, an extra amount of time to open credit, but it's because people assumed her identity.
It's bad. I mean, it's really bad. It's we're seeing we had a title agency in California. They got hacked, and someone in China started launching wires out of their escrow account, and all of a sudden they were out $1 million in 3 days and didn't even know it.
Another reason why you need title insurance.
Yeah, I mean it literally is. So I mean the price of doing business is going way up in our industry. There's going to be a lot less small businesses in title. The
problem is the bad guys. When they do their magic, they cost everybody money.
They
do,
and it's sad because we were one of those mom and pop shops, years ago. And so I feel for those folks because I was one, and I hate to see that just regulations put people under.
Right.
But in this case, it is to protect the greater good. So.
It was so wild, and I don't think anybody really knew how. I mean, it was regulated, but there was so much about it that wasn't regulated for several years that when the whole meltdown occurred, I think it just shed a lot of light on our industry and what happens and what doesn't happen.
Yeah, and every industry. I mean, healthcare industry is facing the exact same thing right now. We're tied to lending and banking, so we're directly affected by the lending. So therefore, title, real estate, all of that stuff's affected. So they they've also gone after the payday loan companies and
Yes.
ACH transfers. I mean, all of those things are being affected at the same time right now.
And this is Katrina Madewell. I'm your host of Tampa Home Talk, and the mission of our show is really to help you keep and maintain good credit, live within your means, and build wealth. And it's pretty simple. And so everybody we have on our show is in or around the real estate sphere or is in line with one of our core values.
Yep.
And so we do the show not for me, but for you, for the person listening, for our past clients, to really just help you get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, you think you want to buy or sell, and you have some general questions, feel free to email us, or you can call in at our studio line, 727-441-3000. Again, you can call in. We're airing live today, 727-441-3000. You can also send us a tweet or visit us on the web at tampahometalk.com. And so I had one of the questions come by, and I think it was something we said earlier. Someone wanted to know how many homes were on the market right now. And I actually have that for you. We pulled Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough. And right now there's 17,590 properties for sale, which might sound like a lot, but really it's not a lot.
No.
For 3 counties, not at all.
No, it'll move fast.
Yeah, and so out of that number, we have over 10,000 of those pending in escrow, like have a contract on them, getting ready to close.
Yeah.
So we're moving on average about 3,000 to 4,000 homes a month.
And that you could interpret it that as your sellers, your home will move fast if you want to sell it right now.
Yes. So if you've been depressed for a little bit because your house values were down, we might be able to help get that number you're looking for now.
Yeah, values have come way back up. People will be surprised right now what their homes are worth.
Yes, and there's not a lot for sale, especially in that entry-level price. I mean, we're noticing, something that maybe a first-time home buyer would buy, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, simple little house that shouldn't cost too much. There's not a lot of stuff, under $100,000 at all. Mm-mm. So the hedge funds are snapping up a lot of that stuff.
They bought all those. Those are rentals now.
Yes, they are. So what type of other changes are you guys seeing over in your organization, and what's some of the stuff we can expect to see if someone's going to buy or sell in the near future?
Well, we were touching on the stuff that's coming down the pipeline next year. I mean, there's all of this financial reform is in place now, and it's continuing to evolve and come out. So we just had Wells Fargo just put out a huge announcement this week, and it said that they are to their title providers that they are going to start basically auditing us. To make sure that we're worthy candidates to close their loans.
Wow! So they're going to have like a blacklist, I guess.
They will. I used to joke, it was to close a loan. If you're a new title agent, they want a piece of paper. They want your E&O insurance, your title license. Are you an active corporation, and do you have a heartbeat? And so now that it's like, no, we want you to show us all of the security measures you've got in place to close our loans and protect our consumers.
So it's getting a little tighter. It's getting a little bit harder. If you were pre-approved in the past, like by January or a little before January, that number that you were pre-approved for might not be as high right now.
Yeah. It's when we were just talking during the break, it's that pendulum swing. So it's
Yes.
It's going to get more difficult. Banks and lenders have to adapt a little bit to the new regulation, and that's going to take a year and a half for it to fully take effect. So right now, a lot of lenders are just scared of the unknown,
Yes.
and so scared, in fact, that we've seen lenders go under. Residential lending portions of banks go ahead and ditch their lending departments. They don't want to deal with all this compliance.
Chase, huge wholesale and retail operations here that did mortgage stuff, they closed their operations.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people that have been out of the business for a while
Yep.
that are now back in,
Yeah.
trying to make a living because the market's hot and they lost their regular 9-to-5 job and whatever.
Yeah. And everyone's trying to everyone's trying to predict the future and see, all right, where is this? So interestingly enough, we've seen some big insurance companies now open up mortgage divisions and get into lending, because they have tons of cash to do something with. Mm-hmm. So State Farm opened a mortgage division. Mutual of Omaha
Yes.
Bank opened a mortgage division. So you're seeing a lot of movement right now.
I don't know if I want the insurance piece kind of mixed with the mortgage. It doesn't sound very
Well,
fair.
they have so much cash just by virtue of what they do and what they have to carry from a regulatory standpoint. So
No, we were talking also before the show about some of the changes with the caps and the maximum and the affiliated title companies.
Yeah, that one's interesting too. So during part of the qualified mortgage rule was that a lender can only charge a maximum of 3% of fees. So let's just take a $100,000 loan. That means they can only charge $3,000. if they own any affiliated businesses that they use for that transaction.
Like mortgage and title, for example.
So a lot of times mortgage companies own title companies. They own property and casualty insurance companies. They own flood certification companies, tax service companies, etc. Any of those, the fees have to be included with the 3%. So if, and I'll use them, it's public knowledge now, one of the larger, Wells Fargo, Regions, BB&T, all of these guys have shut down their title companies because they had to include those fees into that 3%.
And they're losing money. They just can't. They can't even break even. There's no profit.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, fair or not. I don't necessarily know. I have an opinion because I can see that both ways. It's ease of use for that lender to use their title company that they own. However, are they double dipping? Maybe, maybe not. So the government said, yes, you are double dipping, and you can only make 3%. So most of these guys said, look, title's not profitable enough for us to carry any longer, so let's go ahead and get out of that business. So now independent guys like me, that's a big lift for our businesses because all of that just became available.
Hence some of the 15 offices, right? You guys have opened. I'm really excited for you because you're you're so humble. You're an everyday regular guy, so it's not like you're this, big company that doesn't care. I appreciate that, and we it's humble roots and being raised the right way, and I care about all of our transactions, and so it's exciting for us as well. I mean, we literally have doubled our footprint in the last 12 months. And we'll probably... And you guys are doing it the right way.
Doing it the right way, but good business, good people, smart acquisitions, and the folks that we're acquiring are also great businesses. They're great. They just don't want to go through this change and they're
alone, probably, right?
Alone, yeah. So now they've partnered with me, and so we've provided this big umbrella for them, and we're to continue to do what we do.
There's a lot of changes still coming. And again, if you're buying or selling, you might want to catch this podcast in its entirety. If you've missed any part of it, you can catch us on the web at TampaHomeTalk.com. You can also find us via podcast and Facebook and Twitter across the web. Just search for Tampa Home Talk and you will find me giving you great information. And we'd love to replay this information for you in its entirety. We'll be back in just a minute.
If you are a real estate agent and want to keep more of your hard-earned commission, call me today at 727-538-9200 extension 2. This call will change your real estate career.
Curious where your credit score is? Text the word credit to 813-377-2775. Not sure where it needs to be in order to buy? We'll tell you. Simply text the word credit to 813-377-2775 for access to your credit score now.
Hi, I'm Ike Antonio Thomas, Director of Salitas House, where we offer homeownership workshops, pre-purchase counseling, foreclosure intervention counseling for homeowners at risk of losing their home, financial coaching for adults and teens. Come sign up for our program where if you save $1,000, we'll give you $1,000. Call us 813-425-4847. Again, 813-425-4847. You can like us on Facebook or you can find us on the web, SalitasHouse.com.
Curious what your Tampa home is worth? Here's an easy way to find out what homes like yours are selling for in today's market. Text the word value to 813-377-2775 for a free report on Tampa house prices. We'll send you a free report with up-to-the-minute statistics based on all homes for sale sold in your neighborhood over the last 6 months in all price ranges. To get your free report on Tampa Bay house prices, just call or text the word value to 813-377-2775.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888 or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
Good Thursday afternoon. This is Katrina Madewell, your host of Tampa Home Talk. Thank you so much for coming back to our last segment. If you missed any part of today's show, you can find us on the web at tampahometalk.com. You can also search for the podcast. Just look for Tampa Home Talk, and you can catch the entire show in its entirety, all 45, 50 minutes of it.
There you go.
Aaron Davis, he is the CEO and president of Hillsborough Title. Delighted to have you in studio with me today. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a blast.
If you have any questions for me or Aaron, we would love to answer them. We're going to end our show on a great note and just have a lot of fun with you guys. But if you want to call in, our studio number is 727-441-3000. And we also answer our tweets. If you send it to at Tampa Home Talk or Tampa Homes, we'll answer you. And then also post them on our Facebook page. We definitely try to answer them during the show. If we can't, we'll definitely get to them next week or get back to you one-to-one. So we've seen a lot, right? How many years do you have? I'm at like 22 years in the industry.
So
how about you?
Besides 9 years old picking staples out of carpet, I would say officially at 16 the company career, and then kind of up the chain. So I would say 21, 22 years now.
So we've seen some funny stuff in that timeline.
Yeah, it's there's definitely some moments that kind of stand out for all of us, and anyone that works in an office environment, of course, you've got funny office stories, but in our businesses, this is a serious transaction. It's like
and people are nervous. They show up. They don't know what to expect. They're
nervous. There's this stressful thing has occurred for 30, 45 days, and it culminates here finally at the closing. And so I remember this was I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. There was a family, and they're in and they're signing, and excuse me. They're in signing, and there was a husband and a wife and this cute little girl, and she's about 6 years old, and I was signing them out and going through all the documents, and this girl had this little T-shirt on, and it was Cork Elementary School, so she was a Cork Cougar, and that's where I went. So I was like, oh, that's cute, Cork School, and we were kind of related to that, and all of a sudden the little girl disappears, and we're signing, and then all of a sudden you hear just loud. Yeah. and I just remember the mom just looking at me and her eyes going up, and this cute little girl comes out from under the table and goes, excuse me. And I mean, we all erupted with laughter. It was hysterical, but the mom turned 18 shades of red.
We've had crazy stuff. I mean, I could tell you stories like I can't even believe are real. And I had this couple. I'm gonna call them the Bad News Bears, and it's a long story short, but they're the couple that always have stuff wrong. Like there's always drama. It just surrounds them. And we had their property listed. We'd gotten several offers. It was taking them just forever to nail them down to even respond to the offers. And so long story short, we were supposed to meet at this place, and then I'm following them. They go, okay, let's go here. We followed each other. We were going to go back to their house to review the offers. Well, then they turned in the cul-de-sac, made a circle out, and kept driving. I thought, well, that's strange. On the phone with this other agent had been trying to catch up with probably all day. And then essentially we start driving, and the next thing you know, we pull up in this little area, like, Carrollwood Village area. And I was following them, driving by myself, and they pull over and kind of stop. And I see the wife get out of the car from her side and come over and get in my car. And I thought, that's weird, but I'm on the phone still trying to hurry up and get off because now she's in my car. Mm-hmm. Well, then I see the other car, the husband just speed off, and all of a sudden someone's approaching my car with I don't even know what in their hand, maybe a crowbar or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? If you don't tell me what's going on right now, I'm going to throw you out of my car. And so here I'm driving, and then I just and I'm on Del Mabry because I want to be on a major road because I have no idea who this person is that's now following me, and I'm headed north. So I'm like, oh great, now I'm changing jurisdictions because I'm going to be in Basco in a few minutes. Right. So I call 911 and just say, look, I'm a real estate agent. This person's following me. I don't know what they want, which was totally true. And then I turned around and ended up making a U-turn because I got to Pasco and I didn't want to change jurisdiction. So finally the cops caught up with him like 4 or 5 miles down the road. And I pull in, I saw them pull him over, and I kept driving until he was like out of my sight. And then I pulled over and waited for someone, and then I pull up next to this car that's sitting there, and the guy's sitting there listening to the CP radio, the police scanner. He's like, is that you? And I'm thinking, man, I had a day like from the Twilight Zone. And my husband's going, and you want to go out by yourself?
I'm sure they I've heard so many great stories from agents, and I'll share those if we have time. But one that stands out in my mind was a closing my mom did. This is almost 20 years ago, and you often have, husband and wives and divorce cases and stuff. So
which is not fun when you get those closings that are in different
yeah,
rooms,
right? You got to sign one out at 2:00 and one out at 4:00, and so I guess the wife had already signed, and my mom was in the closing with those two real estate agents and there's a lender, and everybody's there, and so the husband shows up to sign, and the husband is sitting there signing, and all of a sudden, cops bust in the closing room like SWAT gear, yelling everyone on the ground, and they take the husband down. Well, apparently
I can imagine sitting at a closing table and watching this transpire. I can't even imagine.
My mom's just sitting there at the end of the table going, what in the hell is going on? So the cops bust in. They're taking this husband to jail. He had, he did something bad earlier in the day, and I guess they tracked him down. But he, thankfully enough, he came to his closing. So the real estate agent, as they're cuffing him, they're leaving, interrupted closing, and it's almost done. The real estate agent jumps up and goes, wait. He's only got one more document to sign. Will you please uncuff him so he can sign the HUD statement? So,
and the funny part is, thank God they did, because the poor buyers also waiting to get their piece of their house.
That moment, the real estate agent saved the transaction because the cops did uncuff him, let him sign one document, and then he was done. So that way, everyone got paid. The buyers got the keys. Everyone's good. So that was pretty funny. I still, and that real estate agent is still doing business over in Plant City today.
That is so funny. It's just the things that we see like all the time. When you think you've seen everything, there's always more.
It's always something.
So you're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Again, our studio call-in lines are 727-441-3000. If you're tweeting me and I didn't see it yet at Tampa Home Talk, I promise I'll answer you back when we get off air and maybe even respond next week on air. So anything else you can think of, any title funny jokes that we can...
Oh man, there's a ton of ones that fly around, but what's funny to me is stuff that you find while you're working. And so our job is public record. We say we're the purveyors and keepers of public record. So as you're searching through public record, sometimes you'll stumble across weird stuff. So, one thing we found a while back, like when we found a legal description from years and years ago, and it was out of Texas, and it said, go 200 feet to the 10-foot tall pine tree that's 4 inches around. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, well, what happens when that pine tree gets chopped down or grows bigger than that? So, here comes stuff like that. But then there was one, and it's, sometimes we make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we have to file an affidavit stating that we missed a legal description or something was done improperly, and these are the reasons why. And this one affidavit, it says apparently someone did not like the person that they worked with, so it said the reason for this error is because my stupid closer missed the legal description, and that is in public record now forever.
That's so funny. I know that I'll use another little funny quirky story, but I've been out to home inspections before, and one time had this home inspection. They're checking everything out, right? They're looking to make sure there's not big gaping holes in the closet and all that type of stuff. And my home inspector stumbled across all this sexual paraphernalia in the closet. Oh, no. He's like, yeah, by the way, I think I'm going to be skipping that part of the inspection in the closet. We got some personal items there I probably shouldn't be seeing.
That's an addendum to contract.
Yeah. This is Katrina Madewell. I'm your host with Tampa Home Talk. We have had a blast today with Aaron Davis, CEO of Hillsborough Title. Thank you so much for checking us out, and we would love for you to hear our podcast in entirety and see what we post on the web. Just check us out at tampahometalk.com. We'll be here every Thursday, every Saturday at 5 p.m. We'll be back, but for this week, we are out. There's no reason to belong. How we end up here at all. And I think it's time
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay.